La boca del lobo, the wolf's mouth. That's what my mom calls the neighborhood where I was born and raised. Gang fights and crime happen constantly in our neighborhood. The best my parents could wish for was that it wouldn't happen near us. But unfortunately, their wish didn't come true. One day, a gang fight broke out in front of our apartment complex, and it quickly turned violent. Gunshots began to go off. I was only a toddler at the time, but I can still remember all the yelling and the commotion once we heard the gunshots. My mom grabbed my two oldest brothers, who were sitting on the front steps of our apartment. My middle brother, Miguel, grabbed my youngest brother and I, while our dad put up furniture against the front door. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I just remember hiding under my parents' bed, while my dad yelled for us to stay down. That day, a 13-year-old boy was shot, and he died a few days later. You might be picturing this scene in the inner city of Los Angeles, or maybe even Chicago, but my neighborhood, La Boca del Lobo, is on your road, right here in Reno. I was born in Reno, the youngest and only girl, with 4 older brothers. You could say that I was from the wrong side of town, with statistics stacked high against me, such as Hispanic girls having the higher high school dropout rate than any other ethnic group. They are the least likely to earn a college degree, and Hispanic teen birth rates are over 1.5 times higher than the national average. This was my neighborhood. This was my life. No hope for kids, just a future of crime, gangs, and teen pregnancy, a future that my parents didn't want for any of us to have. My parents legally emigrated from Mexico before I was born and worked hard to provide a good future for my brothers. My dad worked in construction, and when he couldn't find stable work in Reno, he would travel down to California. My mom would stay with us kids and work 2 jobs, but because she didn't speak English, it was a struggle to find a good-paying job. When I was about 3 years old, my dad was injured on a job site and was unable to work for a couple of years. It was a difficult time for our family. There were many times when we didn't know where our next meal would come from. A year later, our lives would be completely changed when a Boys and Girls Club opened up in front of our apartment complex. We had no idea what the club was, but a neighbor had joined and mentioned to my brother Miguel how much fun he had there every day. Miguel begged my mom to join, but she was afraid that we couldn't afford it. One day, she went to the Boys and Girls Club and explained to them our financial situation. They gave my brothers a scholarship, and they started attending daily. But even more than that, they offered my mom a job, a stable, consistent job where her background and language skills were an asset as she worked with kids from our neighborhood. At the club, my mom learned English, plus she was able to keep an eye on my brothers. The job was supposed to be temporary, but today, my mom is in her 13th year at the Boys and Girls Club. I started attending the club at a very early age. Technically, you can become a club member at the age of 6. Let's just say that I was 6 for 2 years longer than any other kid. I was happy when my 7th birthday came, and I could finally tell everyone that I was 7. I was a little scared when I first came to the club. There were a lot of kids and a lot of activity. Not only that, but I was still learning English too. It was Miguel who first helped me feel at home. Every day, he would participate in a program called Power Hour, where he would earn power points for finishing his homework at the club. Once a month, he would cash in his points for toys and school supplies. He used to share his prizes with me, and it didn't take me long to want to start earning my own prizes. After that, I was hooked. I participated in every program the club had to offer. Character and leadership programs like Torch Club and Youth for Unity, programs that helped build self-esteem and keep me healthy, like Beauty and Beyond and Smart Moves. I loved being at the club. During summer breaks, my friends would tell me how bored they would get at home. I never understood how with the Boys and Girls Club in our neighborhood. The best part was that at the Boys and Girls Club, I could be with my family. The club's mission may be to serve kids, but for me, it changed my whole family. I'll never forget the first Christmas after we joined the club. The site coordinator, Cece, took our family out to dinner, and when we arrived home, our house was full of presents. We had never had Christmas presents before. The holidays at our house were usually spent eating a meal together and watching Christmas movies. That year, I felt like we were in a movie. So many packages with our names on them, thanks to the Boys and Girls Club. The club was my whole life all through elementary school, but as I got into the 6th and 7th grade, things started to change. I made some new friends that were all different from me, but still all too similar. We had grown up in the same neighborhood, around the same gang violence and influence. We knew a lot of the same people, but they were choosing a different path than I was. They didn't have a strong family supporting them. They didn't have the Boys and Girls Club. And even though I knew better, I wanted them to like me. They questioned why I went to the club. They told me that the club was for little kids, and I believed them. My site on Neal Road doesn't offer a teen center, which makes it hard for kids like me who grew up at the club and suddenly felt disconnected as they became teenagers. I started looking for excuses to avoid going to the club. It wasn't easy since my mom worked there and my brothers were so involved. I would sometimes come by the club at closing time when I figured no one would see me. Marquise Hatcher, the site coordinator at the time, would always talk to me and try to convince me to come back, but I wasn't interested. My friends wouldn't approve, and besides, I was no longer a little kid. My friends had a bad attitude at home and at school, and would skip class whenever they could. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary in my neighborhood. In fact, it was out of the ordinary for kids not to do these things. But my parents in the club had taught me right from wrong. It was really tempting at times, but I never participated in these things because I knew my parents wouldn't approve. My after-hour talks with Marquise continued, and he slowly started changing his approach. He began telling me that he needed some extra help at the club, and I was the perfect one for the job. He told me that I can come back as a helper instead of a member. That got my attention, and I eventually agreed to come back. Around this time, the new school year was starting. I was doing well in school and was switched into advanced classes. The girls I hung around with the year before weren't, and we stopped seeing each other. I haven't talked with them much over the years, although I know one of them is a teenage mom. When I turned 13, I joined the Leaders in Training program. As an LIT, I have participated in programs such as Keystone Club, Money Matters, Goals for Graduation, and Junior Achievement. These programs have reinforced the lessons my parents have taught us since I was young. The importance of working hard to achieve your goals and to create a successful future, as well as the importance of giving back. My family didn't have much, but my parents would always give to others out of the little we had. My mom often tells us about her childhood growing up in poverty in Mexico. I was happy if I had 2 shoes on my feet, she would tell us. I try to live out those same values in my life today. I'm still an LIT today, and I work with many of the kids in my neighborhood. I especially like working in the homework room. Now I'm the one running Power Hour and handing out prizes to the kids each month. I've also learned that being called sister isn't just a phrase used by your family. The Boys and Girls Club has a family atmosphere, and I get called sister by many of the younger girls there. There is one little sister that touches me the most, a girl named Angel. Angel is only 9 years old and doesn't have the best home life or role models around her. Last year, she really struggled with her homework. Every day would be a fight with her to do her homework. Her mom had the same challenges at home too. So I decided to work with Angel by giving her some extra attention. Over time, she started listening to me, and today, she sits with me every day and finishes her homework at the club. I am the only one that can get her to do her homework. One day, her mom came up to me and told me that her daughter talks about me at home all the time. Not only that, but she mentioned to me that Angel told her that she wishes I was her real sister and wants to grow up to be just like me. It's the best feeling knowing I am making an impact on someone else's life, just like the Boys and Girls Club did for me. If I can help even one kid go against the statistics and stay on the right path, It's all worth it. I would like to thank Mandy, Sam, and Marquise Hatcher, who have impacted my life the most while at the Boys and Girls Club. They helped me through some challenging obstacles, helped me follow the right path, and were great advice givers. It's amazing to me how one little club completely transformed our family. While having a Boys and Girls Club on your road has helped my neighborhood a lot, there are still plenty of ways for kids to fall through cracks, but not in my family. Our neighborhood hasn't changed much over the years, but we have. All 4 of my brothers have graduated high school and are either in college or have graduated from college. Miguel was even Youth of the Year in 2008. He was a senior at the time. I'm a junior. My oldest brother now has younger kids of his own, and they love visiting their grandma at work. I have a feeling they'll be 6 a little longer than most kids, too. Thanks to the Boys and Girls Club, it will not be a negative statistic, but a positive one. I am currently a junior at Demonte Ranch High School with her head held high on track to graduate with an honors diploma. After high school, I plan on attending UC Davis. Where I will major in biochemistry and molecular biology while minoring in French. After that, I want to attend medical school, learn a 4th language, and eventually work for an organization like Doctors Without Borders. Yes. My dream is to travel the world helping those in need, those without hope, those who need a little extra help to reach their potential, those who aren't that different from my family and from me. Thank you.